There's a storyteller within all of us, but some of us have lost our storyteller, and we need to peel back the layers to find it again. Um, and that's our intention with these courses. The beginner's course, in particular, is to peel back those layers and find the storyteller that you are, and help you with some skills, some practice, some little techniques, and by the end of the course, you'll feel the confidence enough to share your stories with an audience. If you're a participant, you can bring any kind of story. So if you want to tell a personal story, if that's really what you want to work on, you can do that. If your interest is folk tales, fairy tales, you can do that. If you want to create your own stories, you can do that. We will give you exercises, give you resources you can use to develop skills in all those areas to help you grow as a storyteller and do what you want to be doing, telling the stories you want to tell. Do people have to prepare anything before they come on the course? So tell me about the Committed Storytellers course first. Do people need to prepare before they come?
Well, we have a conversation before we start. Each student have a conversation about a half an hour before we start the committed storytelling course. And in that conversation, I ask for stories. What kind of stories do you usually tell? And we will find out what's if there is any challenges that the committed storyteller wants to meet. Finding new stories. If they have told fairy tales for a long time, then maybe it's time to go for the myths or the personal story or the story that you create yourself.
I will get in touch with my students like you and have a chat and find out what everybody's interested in and what they would like to be getting out of the course. And I would encourage them to just be thinking about a personal story from their life, something perhaps someone in their family tells, or perhaps a story about a journey you've been on, or a really happy memory from your childhood, something like that. Just have something in mind that you think, oh, I might like to share that story with others. And I'd like beginners also to think about any traditional stories or fairy tales that they've always liked, or something they've always really loved, as a way for us to start and to get talking to each other, and just have those stories in mind when you come into the sessions, so that we have something to begin with and offer on the table.
If you should say something about your method of teaching, what should that be? If you should say that in 2-3 lines.
My method of teaching. I always seek to support, encourage, nurture, and extract the best from everyone I work with. Meeting them where they're at and helping lift them to a place where they want to go. How would you describe my teaching?
Supporting. Very much about how you listen into what they are coming in with, and you support that. It's like every storyteller has a project. It's a personal thing, and it's also a collective thing. It's something that goes deeper than themselves. And you're very good at listening to what is that connection between the personal and the collective, and then bring in support what is that person's project. I've seen you doing that many, many times, that you use your ear, your whole body, just to listen really deeply into what is actually going on right here, and then support that storyteller, that person, to become authentic storyteller. I think authenticity is very much the second word I will use for describing what you're doing, as it is for your own personal storytelling. It's also always very profound. It's you work very hard with your stories. You're in a good way. I see you very much as a storyteller that goes a little bit deeper, and you encourage your student also to go a little deeper.
Maybe. And you, how do you describe your teaching in one sentence? Or
what I look for in storytelling is that the storyteller has to be present, really present in the story, in the body that's telling the story, and present with the audience as well. And that is a connection that's quite profound. And when I hear a story, I just trust my instinct, and I trust my experience, that I can go straight into that point and say, hey, you were not here, you were not there, you were not in the story, you were not with me as an audience. And then I say, hey, can we repeat it? Can we do something about it? And we explore it together. How can it be present? How can it really be present with the audience, within the story, and grounded?
yeah, you're very good at that. And I think a lot of people have said a lot of good things about your work and what you do, and how you're really good at accessing those spaces in a story where there's something that's not quite right, where you hear something, it's like, something's wrong here. I need to stop this storyteller. And I know you've done that with me, because you've worked with me on some stories, and you've really helped some of my stories to kind of open up and become more spacious. So in that way, I've learned a lot from you as a teacher myself, also on how to do that and how to dive in and say, okay, this isn't quite working here. So what does the storyteller need to do to kind of land and get into this moment and see what's happening?
You have taught me is very much to not just be happy with the first impression. It's not, well, I have this moment where I can feel that there's something, there's a tone here that's not right, and I can ask why, and we can start working on it. But then not just be happy with the first, like the first layer of the storytelling. That's very much what you have taught me, to look deeper into the stories. Why are these people actually acting like they're doing?
Yeah.
There's a psychological pattern between them that you can look for and you can find. So if you go on your, I'm quite sure that you will do that in your course. You
Absolutely.
have that weaving in for this extra layer.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's there? What's there in that story? And yeah, it's not just a bunch of words.
No, it's not.
It's so much more than that. On my course, the beginner's course, Sven will be making appearances. It won't be just me. So you will have the odd session with Sven, and also the committed storytellers will have the odd session with me. The drop-in classes, which are going to happen on the Tuesday, the Thursday, and the Saturday, they are optional. So you don't have to come to those if you're too busy doing other things, but they are available. And they're an open invitation to other people as well. So others from outside the summer school can come, buy a ticket, and they can join these groups. The Tuesday night is our myth session night, where you will hear a storyteller, not me or Sven, but somebody else. So you get to hear another voice, will tell a story, and then there's a big group kind of response discussion about that story and what that means. And that's usually a myth or a folk tale that gets told. On Thursdays, I think we have a Kaylee night, is that right? So we will invite our musician friends to host that Ceilidh night, and that will involve a little storytelling and hopefully a lot of music and singing too.
Poems.
And maybe poems as well. So it's very much like a feast of culture. And then on Saturday nights, we are going to be having guest storytellers doing concerts for you. And again, that will be open invitations to anyone who wants to buy a ticket can come to those concerts and experience a different storyteller every week.
And it's very much inspired by the Danish Folkehøjskole. And if you want to know more about that, we will have a link on a podcast where I talk more about what it is at Danish Folkehøjskole. Because on the Danish Folkehøjskole, there's always something going on that you can participate in and join in, and the conversation, and there's always something to chat about, meet the other ones and say, did you see that? Oh, you should have. Very much for the Danish Folkehøjskole. A link down here.
I don't want people to be sitting fixed on the screen. We will spend some time on the screen to establish the group, to get to know each other. And of course, it's really important that we're sharing and we're interacting with others. You're not going to be confined to your office chair and to your camera. There are going to be a range of tasks, a range of activities. And I think you can look at the Zoom room as a resource. The courses on the summer school are, well, they are available at a discount price at the moment. And to get the discount price, which is £295, you have to go onto our crowdfunder. That discount price is available in the crowdfunder rewards.